Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Lowe's off of I-75 in Plano, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting that like button and also following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. If you like 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, please make sure you are subscribing to my channel by hitting the subscribe button and notification bell on. So today is a beautiful late afternoon out in Plano, Texas. I am based out in North Dallas, and I decided that I would go ahead and check out this particular Lowe's. I've been doing a lot of Lowe's plant shopping videos, so hopefully you will enjoy all of the plants that I feature today. You can see that I am showing some of these outdoor plants that we have available here. It is getting pretty hot out in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at. But with, early summer coming around, I wanted to feature a couple of these outdoor plants. One would be this lantana plant, for instance. I love lantana. I was able to grow some, plant some in the ground this spring, and they have started to spread and mound. And these plants need full sun. They actually can tolerate lower watering conditions, so they are more drought tolerant. And you can see over here, we've got some pentas flowers right over here, or that star cluster flower. Beautiful flower. It does need full sun to really thrive and get those blooms, and these ones are for $5.98. I do like the textured leaves as well. And what else do we have here? We've got some more lantanas, and we've just got more lantanas on this side right over here. So I am a fan of lantanas because when it comes down to it, if you are going to grow certain plants, plants that are more tolerant of the climate and conditions are going to just do better naturally. So for instance, my grow zone is 8B, and 8B means that these particular lantanas are going to be more perennial. So some grow zones or growing conditions are going to actually be where they're not going to be, what am I trying to say? They're not going to be perennial. So you just have to check out what grow zone you live in. But you can see over here, we've got some vinca baskets of flowers. I really like vinca flowers as well because that is another drought tolerant flower. But you can see that I like to explore the outside area of the outdoor section before I go into the indoor section. So hopefully you guys are also liking the outdoor stuff. So if you did come here for the indoor tropical plants, don't worry, I will feature an extensive amount of indoor plants. Now, to all of my plant foldies, and for those that are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. Just know that I have a lot of plants in store for today, like these Croton Petras. They're giving summer vibes like their container label says. Now these are for $16.98. I do like the fact that this particular Croton Petra has more of like a yellow new growth tone to it. So I don't know if it's a specific type of Croton Petra, but it is lovely. I also love the Mandevilla flowers right over here. The white blooms, I talk about white blooms in all my videos. I do find them very attractive and also very elegant looking. Those are in hanging baskets. Now with Mandevilla flowers, you do have to make sure that their soil gets soaked with a lot of water. They don't like to really be dried out, especially in the hot months like the summer months. And then we also have a bunch of these beautiful vinca flowers right over here. Now these are in hanging baskets for $12.97. I do love vinca flowers. Vinca flowers remind me of my grandmother. We grew a bunch out in the landscape, and they are definitely requiring full sun, and they are drought tolerant. So for folks that get 100+ degree weather, like in Texas, vinca flowers are going to be the best bet. But for those that have actually tuned into a lot of my plant shopping videos, I really do appreciate that. I utilize my plant shopping videos as more of like a personal blog. So you will hear me talk about just random topics as well. So hopefully you are in for that. You can see that this is a beautiful day at Lowe's, and we can see that we've got a lot of these different types of flowers. We've got some hibiscus flowers, and then even more flowers right over here. Now this was filmed on Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, and you can see that it is quite a bit of all of these like vinca flowers. These are for $12.97 again. Now I know that Lowe's was running a special where I think it was like two two hanging baskets for 20, so which makes them $10 a piece. Not sure if they are still running that, but we're gonna go ahead and walk directly into the indoor tropical section. Now, what I like about this Lowe's is they have a section in between the outdoor garden section where it's more of like a greenhouse. Now, this Lowe's has become one of my favorite Lowe's as well. A couple of months back when we had like the really cold freezes, a lot of their plants ended up dying because their middle section of this store actually lost power, and so they didn't have any heating. But as you can see right here, we're gonna go ahead and look at all of these beautiful flowers and also all of these beautiful plants. Now, it looks like they just got a pallet of new product here that's kind of blocking the view, but you can see here, this is another Lowe's that is super full. And I love the merchandising that they have at this particular Lowe's as well. They always have a nice little outdoor and indoor section. This is the indoor section part right here, and I am loving all of the Phalaenopsis orchids that are being sourced out by Better Grow as well as Costa Farms. So like Costa Farms plants, they are everywhere, especially when it comes down to Lowe's. But I'm gonna go ahead and just pan around here and show you what they have. Check out these beautiful cascading Phalaenopsis orchids right here. Look at the pattern of it. Now, with Phalaenopsis orchids, they are the most common orchid that you will find at any big box store, grocery store, or even a local plant nursery. But, you know, I'm not complaining, because if it has a stunning bloom like this, I would love to see Phalaenopsis orchids all day. And the funny thing is, I do plant shopping videos daily, so I am always constantly in a big box store. And I would even go out to say that there is not a single day in the last couple of months where I have not seen a Phalaenopsis orchid in person. But you can see here, this is by Better Grow. This is for $19.99, and notice the planter is actually made out of bamboo, which brings me to another topic. So I have been kind of concerned about just the amount of plastic that is used in a lot of the plant containers, or you know, just all of these big box stores get all of these plastic containers. So it is nice that they have like these bamboo planters. It is a little bit more eco-friendly. I do hope that more nurseries are going to be more conscious about just the carbon footprint that we have, because a lot of these beautiful flowers here, like I love this orange Phalaenopsis orchids. I actually think that orange flowers are beautiful, and it's one that I gravitate to more so, especially when it comes to Phalaenopsis orchids. But to go back to what I was talking about, you know, a lot of these big box store plants, if they don't sell through, like Lowe's will put them on clearance, but if they really don't sell through, they end up getting tossed into the trash, and that is just a lot of plastic that's getting thrown in the trash. I don't know if you are like me, but I am very cautious about just the amount of waste that we produce, and also make an effort to really recycle. So to see more eco-friendly planters, that is a huge plus. I am willing to pay just a little bit more money to not have to use so much plastic when it comes to plastic planters. Now, with my plastic planters, I definitely know that they are never going to be thrown into the trash. I either will recycle them in plastic, you know, recycling, or I will definitely just keep reusing the planter. So plant foldies, I am curious to see what you think about just plastic planters, you know, what you think about just the amount of waste that is created by indoor plants that get tossed into the trash, because on a daily basis, most big box stores will toss these. I've seen it happen. It is unfortunate. And again, I don't want it to sound like I'm being negative toward like big box stores. It's just, it is what it is. I suppose it's the best way to put it. But I just want to know if you think that big box stores or local plant nurseries or nurseries in general should be a little bit more eco-friendly and not use plastic. So that's just a subject I'm curious about. I would really love your engagement on it, but we're going to go ahead and keep talking about all of the flowers. So this Phalaenopsis orchid right here is absolutely stunning. I do love the speckling. It almost looks like a leopard print for that one, and I do like the dark purple magenta overtones of the colors. Now with Phalaenopsis orchids, it is just amazing the amount of different types of flowers and different types of colors that each one has. Now I do see orange less featured, or at least less available at big box stores. And notice this one right here. Look at how beautiful that is. And I just like the cascading effect of a Phalaenopsis orchid. Now Phalaenopsis orchids are also known as the moth orchid, and I can see how it has almost like that moth shape. You can see this one particularly has almost lost all of its blooms, are almost spent, but we also have ones that are just in full bloom. Now if I am going to buy a Phalaenopsis orchid in a big box store or a grocery store, I would try to find one that doesn't have all of the blooms quite open yet. Now, people have asked me how long does a orchid bloom last. Typically, they last about a month, maybe a month and a half, and then they die off. But you can see right here, these are for $18.99. Now, these are bromeliads in those bamboo containers. So I really like the fact that it is in a more eco-friendly pot. You know, bamboo is more of a biodegradable source, and the crazy thing about bamboo is it is a vigorous grower, so it's easy to harvest and grow a crop of bamboo. So it's not like we're just cutting down a bunch of trees. Bamboo is a almost an invasive species. Like I know for landscapes, you really don't want to plant down a bamboo area or bamboo in your landscape unless you want a whole bamboo forest, because they will keep spreading very quickly. You know, some places, like I know my HOA will not allow us to grow bamboo, and for that reason alone, it's because it is an invasive plant. But beautiful bromeliads there. I have been getting into bromeliads. I will like to add some more plants to my plant collection in terms of bromeliads, but you can see all of these large foliage plants from Costa Farms. We've got a Dracaena, a Dieffenbachia, and in the dark purple one is going to be a cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. But I am looking at this Dieffenbachia maculata. Look at how beautiful that is. Love how super white that foliage is. It almost looks like a white, super white aglaonema, but that is a Dieffenbachia. So we're going to take a look at it, and you can see that Dieffenbachia naturally get leggy. You can see that as it gets more mature, it becomes more of like a cane form. So that's just the nature of that particular plant. And you know, some plants, they do get leggy, but that's just how they grow when they mature. Now, if you don't want them to get leggy, you can always repot them further down into a pot so they can kind of start over. But at the end of the day, they are going to get a little bit more leggy. And it's the same thing with the cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. I saw a couple at the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens, which I have a video of. If you haven't already, please check out that video. But I did see a bunch of these mature cordyline plants. They lose the bottom of their leaves, they get taller and taller, and then the stems actually start to get a little bit more woody and thick. So I just find that interesting. And you know, a lot of people will attribute legginess to a plant as being not so aesthetically pleasing, but that is the natural way of a plant growing. It's the same thing with aglaonemas as well. We would love to keep them nice and full, but overall they will eventually lose their lower leaves. So ways you can keep a plant from being leggy is planting it further into a tall pot is one. Another one is just literally chopping the top of the plant off, so it'll push out more branching, and then just propagating the top of it. But you know, that's only a temporary fix. It'll eventually get leggy again. Other ways to keep a plant from getting leggy very quickly is giving it a lot of bright indirect light. And then over here, we've got some Majesty Palms. This one's for $59.98. I do love the look of Majesty Palms. The only thing about Majesty Palms, or palms in general, I'm not really keen in actually growing them because number one, they take up a lot of space. And whenever you are trying to get plants in your home, you have to really be cognizant of like your space conditions. And number two, which actually is the bigger factor, is it just requires a lot of light. And I don't necessarily have the best lighting conditions at my home. I do get a lot of natural east facing window light, but for the most part I reserve that to more of my plants that I really want to grow, and that would be like my Ficus lyrata and some ficus plants. But you can see here we do have a bunch of orchid mix, so I wanted to show you guys this plant folies. I use this orchid grow mix right here. I buy all of my orchid bark orchid mix from Lowe's. They always have a good selection of it. They have some more stuff mixed into the orchid bark, but I will buy this orchid mix right here and then mix it up with a general potting mix. Actually, I use the lawn and tree shrub mix that I can buy at the outdoor section, mix that up, and I put a bunch of perlite as well to make my soil a little bit more chunky and fast draining. So that's really my custom soil mix. I never really use like specific potting mix because I feel like they just retain too much moisture. I just prefer to be a little bit more fast draining versus having a lot of moisture. Although I would say I probably need to use more potting mixes that hold more soil because I have a problem with not really growing. I mean, like not really watering my plants when they need to be watered. I tend to neglect my plants in that sense, and that is really bad. But you know, I am not a perfect plant grower. I have my mistakes too, and just with the amount of time that I kind of invest in making my YouTube videos as well as my job, which is really demanding, sometimes my watering isn't the best. And that's the thing, plant foldies, you also have to look at your lifestyle when you are bringing plants in. Like, you have to make sure that you have enough time for what you call the plant chores. But anyways, I go on a whim. I know that I've been talking a lot about things that are not about the plants I'm featuring, so let me talk about these orchids. So one thing I do like about the orchids at Lowe's is that they have different orchids besides the Phalaenopsis orchids. But as you can see right here, I do like to go shop in the late afternoon, early evening, also night shopping, because there's not as many people walking around. It is a late Saturday afternoon, early evening, and you know, people are probably just settling down. But you can see here they have that clearance section. Now with clearance plants, I talk about this in a lot of my videos, you do get a pretty good value for it. You can rescue a plant, but just assume that a lot of these plants have already had their health compromised, which makes a plant more susceptible to a plant pest. So if you are going to bring a clearance plant back home, just make sure that you are diligent about spraying the plant with neem oil or some type of plant pest spray, and then also quarantining it away from your plants. Now, I do want to feature a bunch of these succulents. So a lot of our plant foldies also have suggested that I show succulents. I'm not the most keen when it comes to succulents. I don't really know a lot about them. I do know that this is a Crusala ovata. So this is like a jade plant. I love jade plants. They are probably the one plant succulent that I am most familiar with. And you can see these are some super cute looking mixed planters of succulents. So it looks like they've got another jade plant in there, and they've just got several of these little succulent arrangements. Now, I'm not really a big succulent arrangement fan. More so, I'm not even really a big fan of succulents. There are certain ones. I just haven't really gotten into it. And I do find this cheesy, maybe even cute. For $6.98, you can get a cactus with some eyes. And then over here, oh, I almost pulled that out, but that is a 4-pack of some Crusala golem plants. Those are jade plants right there. And then we have a random philodendron, not Phalaenopsis, philodendron hederaceum, just a regular green form. This is by Urban Jungle. Now this one is for $24.98. I do like Urban Jungle planters as well. I do think that they have more of a modern feel about them, and then their plants are nice and full and healthy, at least when they get unpacked for a big box store. And then you can see over here, for $7.98, you've got some grafted cactus. So the colorful cactus on the top is actually grafted onto a regular cactus. And then you can see here we've got even more cactus. These look super prickly, and that's the thing about cactus. I just really don't know a lot about them. I do know that this is a golden barrel, so this is a cactus I often see. Now, this is probably one of the most prickly cactus I've seen during my plant shopping videos. And that is one that I definitely don't want to get pricked on because it has some really sharp spines on it. So very interesting looking cactus. And then over here we have another agave. This one is an artichoke agave for $26.96. It does look like an artichoke. You can see that the points are super pointy with a little prickly needle, so you just have to be careful with that. And then we have some more of these cactus right over here. Notice how sharp some of these cactus are. Some of them have like fuzzy textures, but then some of them have like really sharp needles. Now with cactus, they do need a lot of light. I would even venture full sun if you can give it, and then also fast draining soil. So you don't want to put them in a potting mix that does not dry out pretty fast, because cactus like to be out on a more drier climate. They are more like a desert type plant. Now the one way to kill a cactus or a succulent is to overwater them. So for me, I actually think that cactus and succulent would be better suited for my watering routine, just because I don't have to water them nearly as much, and they can be more forgiving. They're definitely more drought tolerant. But you can see right over here, Oasis Plants is what sources out to Lowe. So it's just really interesting that a lot of these different companies like Oasis Plants, Smart Plants, Element Plants have different big box stores that they actually source out. But this is actually one of the Jade plants I am interested in getting. I saw a really large one where I feel like I could just take cuttings and make like bonsai. I do have one or variegated Jade plant that I made into a bonsai. And so for those that you know, haven't seen that, definitely check out some of my older videos. I actually show you the process of creating a bonsai. And for those that don't know what bonsai are, it's basically the Japanese art of taking a shrub, a tree, and growing it as more of like a miniature tree in a shallow container. Really love that. It is one that you know, I started doing bonsai maybe when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was really influenced by growing bonsai because I liked watching The Karate Kid. And you already know Mr. Miyagi if you've watched The Karate Kid. I think that's where a lot of people in the 80s and early 90s really got into bonsai. But I digress and go back to the actual succulents right over here. But you can see they've just got a lot of different types of succulents. Like this is the one I was talking about. This is the Crusala Golem. I do like that. It's a different type of shape of a jade plant. And then we have a bunch of these Epipremnum aureum golden pothos here. Now golden pothos is another pothos plant that I enjoy growing because it is an easy to care for plant. These are all for $12.97. So these are actually sourced out by Costa Farms. You can never go wrong with doing a, you know, growing a jade pothos or even a golden pothos. I'm sorry, golden pothos in your plant collection, just because they're easy to take care of. They do prefer bright indirect light, but they are a fast growing plant. They are easy to propagate as well. So you notice that it's already trailing. So you can take several cuttings from the nodes and get several nodes to put in water. Jade or even golden pothos root very easily in water, and I actually love the process of plant propagation. So plant foldies, let me know if you actually grow golden pothos or pothos plants. What do you like about pothos plants? Leave that in the comments. Again, I encourage you guys to leave as many comments as you'd like in the comment section, because I do love that engagement and I respond to pretty much everybody. And then over here we've got a dogtail cactus in a hanging basket. Now this one is for $16.98. It's in a smaller hanging basket by Costa Farms. This is a tropical cactus, so it is a little bit different in its watering conditions. Like you don't really want to like underwater this one too much, and this one actually prefers more bright indirect light versus full sun. Notice how some of this cactus is actually pushing out a lot of aerial roots. Those little threads that are almost shooting out are actually aerial roots. So I don't really know the plant propagation method of this particular cactus, but it is an interesting looking one. And as I pan away over here, like that lush greenery is absolutely stunning. I really love that the fact that this particular Lowe's always remains full. And I love the Lowe's that actually has more of like a greenhouse outdoor indoor tropical plant section, if that makes any sense. Like it's more of like a greenhouse that's separated from the actual plant, because it can provide a lot more bright light. And you can see right over here, this is an Epipremnum aureum. Let me just double check. This one is an enjoy. So this one is an enjoy pothos because it doesn't really have all of the speckling on it. It has more high contrast when it comes to the variegation. You've got the green and then you've got the white variegation. This is one of the slowest growing pothos plants though out of all the pothos. It also has smaller leaves, but needless to say, it is a beautiful plant. And what I like about this particular pothos is it really won't revert back to green even if you don't give it the best lighting. Now I will say it will be less white. Now with pothos plants in general, the variegation or coloration is really impacted by the amount of light you provide it. And you can see right here, this one is another neon pothos that desperately needs water. And then you can see here, these are some super lush golden pothos, again for $12.97 in a hanging basket. But as you can see here, Lowe's definitely has a lot of easy to care for plants. I like suggesting easy to care for plants because those are the plants that we have less likely of a chance to kill on our first try growing. And you can see here for $12.98, I'm featuring more cactus just because I've gotten some messages via Instagram. And if you haven't already, please follow me on Instagram. I actually have a free plant giveaway going on there. But I know that some of you guys have asked me to do more features on succulents and cactus as well. Now this right here, this cosmic cactus, I'm not really a fan of. It's basically the nursery decided that it was a cool idea to spray paint the plants. I don't really think that's the best idea because you're actually preventing the plant from photosynthesizing. So long term, I don't think it's really healthy for the plant. It does look cool for some people. Some people might think that that's cool. I honestly think it's a little tacky, but that's just my personal opinion. So if you're into that cosmic cactus, you know, more power to you, but it just doesn't really fit the plant aesthetic that I have. And in plant foliage, you can see just so many different types of plants. So the thing about Lowe's and any big box or plant shopping, you'll see that there are three main sources of plants that they get them from. They get them from Live Trends, Urban Jungle, and obviously Costa Farms. Now Costa Farms is pretty much everywhere you go. They are the premier plant nursery that provides at a lot of big box stores and grocery stores. And then over here is that bromelia. Now this one is for $13.99. I got this same bromelia. So my bromelia looks like this. I got it on clearance at Kroger grocery store for only $2.45. So again, you know, you want to do your plant shopping and really just canvas the plant pricing. And that's the reason why, especially if you are a local plant foldie, somebody that lives out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I would really hope that you would subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on, because you will stay up to date on all of the plants that are hitting the Dallas-Fort Worth market. Like I said, again, I am pretty much in every single big box store, local plant nursery daily, and so you'll get these updates pretty frequently, I would say. Now this one right here is an Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. Look at how stunning that yellowish neon green variegation is versus this one right here. This is an Enjoy pothos. Notice how that there is such a big leaf size difference. This one has larger leaves. This one is a classic plant as well, and if you want to go brighten up a darker space in your home, you can put a neon pothos. Now the drawback is it may not be as yellow or neon if you don't provide it with a lot more light. You can see over here, I'm going to try to take this down. I might struggle. I'm going to try to take it down. I don't know if I can take it down, but this is a Marble Queen Pothos for $16.98. I'm just going to give up and not actually try to take it down. But you can see right here, yeah, I'm really struggling. Let me just admire the leaves. There you go. Admire the leaves right over there, plant folies. But that is a Marble Queen Pothos. And as I pan away over here, you can see that they have a lot of golden pothos. Now, this is a Especia plant. I actually was tempted to buy this because look at how beautiful and metallic the leaves are. They remind me almost of like African violet leaves. Beautiful plant as well. And you can see that it's just got a stunning look about it, especially when the light hits it. It's got a nice metallic shine around it. And as a bonus, this plant actually flowers beautiful pink flowers. So typically I don't ever see like tropical house plants grown for indoors with flowers, but this one does bloom. It is a plant that I wish if it was actually on clearance for 50% off, I would totally buy it. Now this one I think is for $16.98. I really like the look of it. And you can see that this plant plant also looks like it'd be easy to propagate from just cuttings. You can see that it's already pushed out a lot of little babies. You could probably chop that, stick it directly into soil, or put water propagate it. But water propagation or just propagation process in general, that is one allure that I have when it comes to just growing plants. I love multiplying my collection via plant propagation. And that's the thing, plant folies, if you're looking to save money on plants, like rather than to buy a full basket of, say, this Rex begonia, maybe find somebody that's willing to do a plant trade, a plant cutting, share plant cutting. I have been doing that a lot, where I've been trading with people and also just getting plant cuttings and just propagating it versus just getting a full-blown plant. Now, if you really want instant gratification, I don't blame you. If you want to buy a plant that's already fully established, that's great. But if you're looking to have a budget for plants, and I really probably need to be better at it, rather than for me to just buy every single plant that I see at these big box store plant shopping videos, perhaps slowing down and just really looking at other alternatives like plant propagation. I am definitely going broke going plant shopping. It's really funny that you plant folies make it a joke at the live premiere chat. And if you guys are watching this live during a live premiere, I typically schedule my live premieres 7 p.m. Central Standard Time daily. It may change on the weekends though, just depending on how long the video is. Plant folies, I have been doing plant compilation or plant marathon with some of my older footage, just because I wanted to provide a space where we can go ahead and plant chat. We can be on the chat a little bit longer, because I know a lot of you guys like chatting with each other. And so I have made some plant compilations in these marathons. So hopefully when I do take my vacation to the Philippines on June 27th, I'll be gone for about 18 days. I'll still have some content available for y'all to be able to watch and also interact with each other. But I went ahead and took that Dracaena Dorado back. That one was actually on clearance. So if you ever see like a black marker that's crossed over the barcode that the employees would scan, that means that plant is on clearance. And typically Lowe's will have clearance plants for 50% off. But you can see here we've got a bunch of Pachira aquatica. I love Pachira aquatica. This one is for $35.98. I'm just not a fan of actually the braided form. I just prefer more of the stump form of a Pachira aquatica, but that is another plant that can get very large. It is a pretty easy growing plant. I would say the only plant pest that it could be susceptible for is a spider mites, just like most plants, but I've only had spider mites really attack my Pachira aquatica when I had it in my plant collection. Now my Pachira aquatica has made it to plant heaven, however, and that's the thing though, sometimes we end up just having plants make it to plant heaven, and it's not something that we want to beat ourselves over on. Some plants just don't do well for us, like this plant though, this Dracaena marginata, and you can see that it's got some really established roots. This one's for $22.98. I do like the look of these Dracaena marginata colorama. It has more narrow leaves. They almost remind you of like a palm tree, but as you look at the leaves, it's got pink cream variegation, and I really like the striping on it. Now, this is an example of a spathiphyllum or peace lily that needs to be watered. So it looks like it's on the brink of death. It looks like a truck may have run over it. It's just all flat and droopy. But if you water that plant, give it about 2 to 3 hours, and it will perk up like this. So, spathiphyllum as well as calatheas are one of the more dramatic plants. They will definitely let you know when they're thirsty. But the only thing is, spathiphyllum, they really bounce back. Like, they look like they're about to die off, but when you water them, they just come back in full force. So I like that. Spathiphyllum are a little bit more forgiving. They're just a little bit more thirsty of a plant. And then over here, we've got a philodendron moonlight. This one is by Live Trends. I often look at this philodendron moonlight just because I really love the green and neon new growth on it. I like that this particular philodendron is more of a mounding type philodendron. It doesn't necessarily need a moss pole quite yet. Most of them will eventually need a moss pole, but this one tends to be a little bit more of a compact grower. Now there's specific philodendron that literally will grow up taller and it's going to need a moss pole, but this one tends to be more of like a compact grower, and I like that. That one is for $24.97 by Urban I mean, not urban jungle, Live Trends. And you know, I love Live Trends in the fact that they have really nice, stylish planters. And as I pan away over here, all of the beautiful Phalaenopsis orchids. I have to walk around here again and just show you how beautiful these Phalaenopsis orchids look. Really like that. And they come in so many different varieties of flowers. I would love to get into Phalaenopsis orchids. I only have one, and that is a variegated Phalaenopsis orchid. So we'll see what that looks like for me in terms of just me adding more Phalaenopsis orchids into my plant collection. The other orchid varieties I've been told are a little bit more challenging. So I want to try just my variegated Phalaenopsis orchid to see if I actually will be successful for that. But as I pan away, you can see how beautiful and full this section of indoor plants are. Over here, we are looking at a bird's nest fern in an urban jungle planter. Now this one is for $13.98. I do like all of the urban jungle planters here. Here is a coffee plant, and this is actually a plant I really want to add into my plant collection. And while it's only just a really just plain green foliage plant, I just like that like shiny texture about it. And coffee plants can get very large as well, and that is another plant that, you know, it does need a little bit more bright indirect light to do well. And then we have a combination planter of some bromeliads here with some peperomia ginny, and also a Philodendron hederaceum, just a green variety, but you can see that it is in a little shallow planter. I'm not as big of a fan of like combination planters. I really like to have plants like this, for instance, this Philodendron Birkin, in more of just a plain planter by itself. I just feel like that's the best way to display plants for my plant aesthetic. Plant folies, let me know in the comments though if you do like the combination planters. I am a fan of certain plant combinations, but for the most part, I don't really gravitate to buying mixed planters of plants. Here is a Ficus altissima, and I will say for this one right here, this is a Live Trends plant for $24.98. Beautiful green on green variegation. Now this is another plant that needs to have a lot of bright indirect light. I mean, it is a ficus plant, so in general, by default, ficus plants need bright indirect light or full sun if you're able to get away with it. I know I've been growing some of my plants in full sun outside and it's doing well, but this one right here does need more light in order for it to have that nice variegation. And in here we have some type of Scindapsus in a hanging basket by Urban Jungle. It is in one of those terracotta planters. I like that as well. It does have a nice little texture on the planter, and Scindapsus are easy to care for plants. They're just a bit slower growing. Here is a Philodendron brantianum. Now the thing about Philodendron brantianum, they look best when you grow them up a totem pole. They get larger leaves, and then you can see here, this is a Hedera helix. And it looks like this Hedera helix has climbed up this bromeliad. It's kind of cute, but I would just say that would be a difficult planter combination to grow those plants because they have different types of plant care tips. So not sure what that all looks like or what it all entails, but you can see over here, we do have a Polea Pan Am. This is another Costa Farms Exotic Angel for $5.98. I do love this Polea. I have one in my plant collection, and it is stunning because it is a dark foliage plant. And then over here, we've got more plants that I want to go pan over. These are the yucca plants. These are the larger plants here. I don't know too much about yucca plants, but I see a lot of people do grow them in a lot of business or corporate settings. And then we have some more palm trees right over here. Gotta love the palms. I mean, they have an interesting texture. This is not a Majesty palm. Not sure what type of palm this is, but this is for $22.98. It's a nice looking palm indeed, but the thing about palms is you actually have to give it lots of bright indirect light in order for it to really thrive, which makes it a little bit more challenging. That's probably the reason why I don't really grow palms. We also have some white bird of paradise, and then we have some beautiful, beautiful Phalaenopsis orchids here, and this is a white one, just a pure white one. Absolutely stunning. It doesn't even look like a real Phalaenopsis orchid, but it definitely is. Again, Phalaenopsis orchids are plants that really do well in neglect. And what I mean by that is you don't really want to overwater them. You'll know that the roots need water when it becomes more of a silvery tone to it. As soon as you water a Phalaenopsis orchids, the roots will actually turn a greenish color. I would repot these Phalaenopsis orchids after they bloomed into a bigger container, preferably like a terracotta planter with some really chunky orchid bark mixed with like perlite. They need fast draining soil. I would definitely never plant a Phalaenopsis orchid in just potting soil. That will definitely give the roots root rot. It is very susceptible. And then I always like to walk over these Lowe's plant fixtures. They always have this little round plant fixture that is right next to the registers. And here we have a Ficus lyrata. So I will say about my Ficus lyrata, it didn't do as well as of late because again, I neglected it. And the thing about it is Ficus lyrata need to be babied a little bit more. You have to be more of a helicopter plant parent. And then over here, we've got a Fittonia plant. It's another Exotic Angels Costa Farms plant for $5.98. So plant foliage, what do you think about this Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic Blue? What I like about this Epipremnum pinnatum, and it always reminds me of my family's home country, which is the Philippines. Epipremnum pinnatum are known as tibatib, which are basically like weeds in the Philippines. They grow wild. They are endemic to the Philippines. And every time I see an Epipremnum pinnatum, it just makes me think of my home country. Over here, we've got a smaller basket of Epipremnum aureum, pearls and jade. You can see that this is a pearls and jade because it has more speckling on the leaves. So it's not quite an enjoy. An enjoy pothos doesn't have speckling on the leaves. And then over here, we have a beautiful golden pothos. As I've always said in all of my videos, you really need to get yourself a golden pothos. I believe that golden pothos are such an easy to care for plant. They're not fussy. They're very easy to propagate. So you can get multiple varieties of pothos plants and really propagate them and grow a whole pothos jungle. And then we're gonna pass by a bunch of these beautiful flowering anthuriums. You know, anthuriums, these flowering anthuriums are common. I do like the flowers, but I'm more so interested in the green foliage. And then we have a beautiful spider plant right over here. Really like that a lot. That is for $16.98. And then we have another Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic Blue. Love that as well. I would love to add that to my collection. You know, Epipremnum pinnatum, though, I will say needs to be in a lot more light than a typical Epipremnum aureum or a pothos plant, because if you don't, they shoot out more runners. Here is a beautiful Dracaena sandriana. This one is for $15.98. I really like the variegation on this one right here. So Dracaenas are also related to the bamboo family. You can see that they look very similar. I do love the variegation of this plant. I'm not a really big fan about the glued rocks topsoil though. I don't know what that is about, but it is a beautiful plant. That is a plant though that does need a little bit more water than the typical Dracaena. And you can see we've got a bunch of Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. So golden pothos, it's a very easy plant. Highly recommend it. It's a cheap plant if you find them at the right prices. I would say a 6-inch planter for a golden pothos. If you're able to find it for under $10, you've got a good deal. And then over here, we are looking at a Croton gold dust. So I've had this Croton before. You know, Croton are just a finicky plant, and the reason why they're a finicky plant is for some reason they're marketed as a indoor plant to be grown indoors, but really they do best outdoors. They're more of like a tropical shrub. And then over here we've got a Dracaena marginata. I do like the dark foliage on this Dracaena marginata for $5.98. This is another Costa Farms Exotic Angels plant. I do like all of the Costa Farms starter plants. Like over here we've got another Hedera helix. This is the wonderful ivy, or the Hedera helix. Wonderful, beautiful, wonderful. Yes, I said it. Wonderful variegation here. This leaf shape is really nice. I love that variegation. I think for English ivy though, I don't think I'll kill an English ivy if I actually just grow it outdoors. My current one, which is number 15, is sitting outside in my front patio, and it's doing very well. But you can see that there are some Hedera helix that's already declining in health. Now this one is a beautiful peperomia. I think this is either a peperomia serpens. No, actually it's not a serpens. This is a peperomia cupid. This one is for $20.98 in a Exotic Angels hanging basket by Costa Farms. I have to hand it to Costa Farms, so they just have a lot of varieties of hanging baskets, and you can go to any big box store and find it. Now this one is a hanging basket of twisted lipstick plant. I think that the twister lipstick plant, I think that this is a really cool lipstick plant for $20.98. I've seen this before, but this is another lipstick plant that is a little bit more uncommon to find at a big box store, so I always think it's awesome to find these. You can see that there is a lot of new growth coming out of this. What I like about this particular lipstick plant is it almost looks like a Hoya compacta, and then we've just got several other plants here. Now this is a Ficus belus, or a creeping fig. I like this as well. Look at how beautiful that variegation is, and it is very crinkly. It has a different type of leaf texture. I like the subtle variegation. It almost looks like ground cover, and so that's the reason why I have been experimenting with potential plants that I want to grow indoors, particularly ground cover. So I was able to get like a variegated ajuga. Tradescanthia is really considered like a ground cover for the outdoors. It's like an annual plant, but that is a beautiful Ficus belus right over here. Now we're gonna walk over here and just look at some more of these Exotic Angel starter plants. So one that I am a huge fan of is going to be this Balfouriana Aurelia. This one is the variegated Aurelia. I really like that a lot, and this one again is for $5.98. Now with this particular Aurelia, you want to make sure that you do let the soil pretty much dry out completely and then water it. It does need some more bright indirect light, but does get fairly large. Here is just a green variety of a Peperomia obtusifolia. I really like the look of that as well, and this one looks to be happy because if you notice that there are some little rat tail looking stems coming up, that is actually the flower, and I do like that it has a natural shine to its leaves. It's got a waxy feel about it, and you can see we've got some more Hedera helix. But these Hedera helix or Hedera helix English ivy aren't doing as well. You can see that there's some browning and crisping on the leaves. I would assume that might be potential spider mites. And then you can see over here for $5.98, we've got another umbrella plant. Gotta love the umbrella plant. You know, this is another Chiflera that grows very easily for me. And then over here, we've got a Hedera helix. This one is just a regular ivy. Notice how it's got a different texture to the leaves. It's a lot more narrow. And that's the diversity of these Hedera helix. That's the reason why I also like it, because there's so many different varieties. Now, if they were just easier to care for and not so spider mite prone, I would definitely get it. And so plant folies, let me know what you think about Hedera helix. Okay, I'm going to really stop doing that because this particular Lowe's typically has a lot of English ivy. I don't know why they get so many different varieties. So you'll see a couple more in this video, but right now we're looking at a dark mystery Polea. That is another Polea plant I'd like to add to my collection. And then we've got a Dracaena Janet Craig compacta for $5.98. Every plant folio, you should just go ahead and buy this plant. It is a nice green plant. It is an easy to care for plant. It's a plant that can tolerate lower light conditions. It doesn't need a lot of water, and it's just really low maintenance. Very good for a beginner. Same thing with this Dracaena Lemon Surprise. I've got this the love for this Dracaena Lemon Surprise for $7.98. This is an absolutely beautiful Dracaena, and the thing about it is this is also known as a dragon tree plant. It can get fairly large, up to 3 to 4 feet tall, so that's another plant that can get some good size. And then this one is another Hedera helix. This one is the asterisk, and notice how it's already started to propagate itself. Look at that, it's starting to root. Now with Hedera helix or English ivy, if you're to grow them outdoors in a shaded area, they're a very invasive species. They will actually attach to like walls. It's not necessarily advisable to plant them and let them become, let them grow on like a house wall, because it's very challenging to actually get rid of the English ivy, especially if you're in a grow zone that allows them to grow even in the winter time. But English ivy, I've also noticed, is that they do very well well when they have actually higher humidity. And the thing about it is higher humidity means that this deters a lot of those spider mites from actually being around the plant. They don't like wet environments. But on the flip side, if you have a more wet area, you can potentially attract fungus gnats, and that is another pretty much annoying plant pest. It like doesn't hurt a human, but at the same time, you just don't like seeing them fly around. I just feel like they're just really icky. So plant pests, I would say, is the number one discouraging factor about plant keeping, just because even though we take the precautions to take care of plant pests, I mean, I still get them. It is a little bit annoying, but at the same time, I have taken, a routine where I spray my plants at least once a week with neem oil, a DIY neem oil, and it's done very well for me. Over here, we've got a design ivy, and I do find this one, it's spectacular. I like the coloration on it. It's got more of like a powdery, it almost looks like powdery mildew, but it's not. It literally is just the way that variegation works on the design ivy. I wish they would have gotten a better name for that. But, sometimes I can be picky. I think plant names can really make a plant attractive. It's not always about the plant and its foliage, but maybe the name it's given. Now, plant foldies, I am curious to see what particular plant names you find super cool. I can't really think of them at the top of my head, but there are some cool ones. Like I think Alocasia Dragon's Breath sounds kind of cool, and there's just Monstera Thai Constellation, just the fact that it does have that constellation look on the leaves. But anyways, we are still looking at some more of these exotic angel starter plants. This one is the PVC ivy. You can see right here for $5.98. You can see that it's well established. The roots are coming out of its drainage holes. I do like the texture of this particular ivy right here. You'll ask any plant YouTuber or anybody who grows plants and ask them if they have a challenging way of being able to grow these English ivy indoors. I just really haven't seen anybody long-term do it. I remember even Plantarina, Amanda, who I am such a huge fan of, when I was watching some of her plant videos, she would even mention that Hedera helix was a challenging plant to grow indoors. So plant foldies, let me know what you think about Hedera helix. Let me know if you like it when I say Hedera helix. And if you would actually rock out a Hedera helix, or let me just say a Hedera helix t-shirt. I am working on some merchandise for the YouTube channel. There's just a lot of different ideas I have for our community, our plant fold community. I have yet to make a Facebook group, but I really do think that it would be fun to create a Facebook group, because I think we can attach faces to all of the wonderful regulars that get on the live premiere chats. Here is an Aglaonema red Siam. Really love this Aglaonema as well. This is a common Aglaonema, but I think that everybody should also grow Aglaonema. They're colorful. They have beautiful different varieties. They have a lot of diversity, and they're just an easy to care for plant. They can tolerate being underwater. They prefer to be on the drier side and can tolerate lower light conditions. Now, this is a plant that will definitely not tolerate lower light conditions, and this is a Dieffenbachia compacta. This one is for $7.98. Now, with Dieffenbachia, they definitely need a lot of bright indirect light. If you don't provide that light, it will definitely get leggy. And then this one right here is a beautiful Syngonium. I think this might be a Syngonium neon robusta. Look at how beautiful that new foliage comes out. It's more of a pink look, and then as it matures or hardens, the leaves turn more of like a mint green. This one is for $14.98 by Urban Jungle. And again, Urban Jungle, I love their plants just because they're readily available. And for the most part, they're pretty cost effective. Like this is another Philodendron hederaceum Brazil. And then I'm going to pan around here and you can see there are other plants that we can look at. We've got another bird's nest fern. And then we've got some type of hanging basket of a succulent. This one is for $12.98. So I don't really have a lot of hanging baskets, and I definitely don't have any hanging baskets of succulents. I do find them attractive. It's just that, to get into another genus of plant or a different type of plant, you really have to learn the care tips, and I have not mastered succulents or cactus. Now this is a Calathea rospicta. I love that one as well. I actually have one growing in hydroponic and it's doing very well. And then this is a Thinanthe plant. I actually want to buy this. I believe it might be on clearance. So if it is, I will definitely buy it, because look at this. Even though it does have slight cosmetic damage, you can see that there are a lot of shoots here. And truthfully, I can cut one back and actually propagate it and get a new plant. What I love about this prayer plant, this Thinanthe, which is similar to the Stromanthe, is it has a green on green variegation. It is a beautiful plant. This is another plant that is pet friendly as well. So if you're looking for a pet friendly plant, Calatheas, Stromanthes, Nanthes, and Maranthas are great plants to put in your collection if you have some fur babies. The only drawback is they are big divas, so you have to give them a lot of humidity, as well as making sure you stay on top of the watering. So here is another Hedera helix. This is the spear point ivy. This one looks to be a little bit dehydrated. I would say if this goes another day or two, your that English ivy is going to really be either pest, have a lot of spider mites, because I can already see the signs of it just declining very quickly. And then over here we have some more Raven ZZ plants. This one is another English ivy that desperately needs to be watered. I feel like if it doesn't get watered anytime soon, it's just going to get a bunch of spider mites, and then it is Dunsky. It will go to plant heaven. Over here we've got a Raven ZZ plant here. Now this one is for $15.98 in a self-watering planter. And again, self-watering planters are really easy for those that do not water their plants as often as they should. It takes the guessing game out of watering plants, because the plant pulls the water through a wick. And then you can see over here we've got another beautiful Dracaena Janet Craig compacta in a self-watering planter. Beautiful plant. I think everybody should get it, should buy one of those. And then we have a spathiphyllum here, or a peace lily. Again, this is for $15.98. Look at how dark and shiny that peace lily leaf is. It is stunning. And even if it's just a green version of it, I really love the look of that plant. It is a plant that I don't currently have in my collection. You know, it's a plant that I used to have, but I just don't water my plants. And I've repeated myself several times in this video and most of my future videos, but I need to either have somebody else help me water my plants. Feel free to volunteer if you want to take care of some of my plants through the watering, but it is something that I'm getting better at. What I do with a lot of my plants now is on my days off, like Tuesday typically is my day off, I will just take a lot of my plants and take them into the shower and just water them that way. Now this is a peperomia, a Japanese peperomia, or a japonica peperomia. It does have some beautiful compact foliage right here, and I do like that. And it looks like there is a trade scantia that may have just propagated itself in the pot as well. So that's really interesting. I do like the look of this particular plant. I would love to be able to grow hanging basket plants, but I don't really want to drill a bunch of holes in my ceiling. And I'm planning on actually repainting a lot of my walls in my home, so I don't want to just drill too many things or add too many fixtures quite yet. But you can see here that is another English ivy. We've got several English ivies again, and what I'm worried about is a lot of these English ivies in the hanging baskets are not looking too healthy. It's either they've been underwatered or they've been attacked by spider mites, which goes back to my point that if you ever go big box store plant shopping, you want to make sure that you are inspecting your plants. So if you find a plant that you like, but then there's another plant or two that have pests, just know that that plant that you want to buy most likely will have a pest, because pests pretty much travel. You may not be able to see it with the naked eye, but I would just assume that they have traveled, and it's just not a good look for that. But you can see here, though, this is a very healthy looking bird's nest fern right next, or right on the bottom of that Hedera helix that doesn't look too hot. So you just have to be really cautious about the plants that you buy at a big box store. Actually, and even local nurseries, just assume that, you know, your plant might have some hitchhikers, and you just have to make sure that you are inspecting the plant and definitely spraying down the plant. Now, plant foldies, if you want me to do a shorts video on how to make you know, preventative pest care spray, let me know in the comments below. Again, I really am receptive to a lot of feedback. I love engagement, and I really want to hear more from y'all. I know I get a lot of comments during the live premiere chats, but I would love to see more comments even in the comment section. So definitely take the time to let me know what you think. I will answer any plant questions. But anyways, this one right here is a beautiful Pachira aquatica. This one is for $15.98. And then we just have more hanging baskets of ferns. We've got some crates of staghorn ferns. I haven't really talked a lot about staghorn ferns. And then this is a really sad looking Alocasia cuculata. It isn't looking too great. And then we have some more planters right here. Now here is an example of a beautiful Janet Craig compacta. Again, this one right here has been chopped at the top, so it has 3 different shoots. That's the thing about Dracaenas, is you can actually chop them and promote more branching. And then you can see right here, and I'm actually tempted to buy this. I really like the look of this planter right here. This is another Sansevieria, but I really like this one. It looks like it could be the fernwood. I'm not a fan of the fake moss top dressing, but I do like the simplicity of the planter. I love those gray metal tones. And then we also have some more urban jungle planter. Now this is for $13.98. I love the planter. It's just not necessarily for me, but you know, if you like that texture, that's really cool. And then we have another beautiful syngonium right here, a syngonium. It's probably a neon robusta. The thing about syngoniums is they look very similar to each other. Needless to say, it's a beautiful plant, but I wanted to go ahead and come back outside here and just take a look at some of these plants that they have available. Now, I will say Lowe's probably has some of the best outdoor plants in presentation-wise for a big box store. Home Depot comes a close second. Actually, they are pretty much neck and neck. They have such a good variety of plants. And if you notice here, they have a full section of like planters full of succulents. So you can see there's a Sansevieria or snake plant in the middle of all of these succulents. The cool thing is with the succulent arrangement, and take a look at that one Echeveria right over there, the very deep purple one. I love the dark foliage plant, but all of these succulent arrangements work well because all of the succulents have similar care tips. Like, you don't have to have a guessing game. You know that you don't have to water them often, and you know that you have to give them a lot of bright light. But these are what I was actually talking about. So these are beautiful Crassula golems or jade plants, but look at how thick that is. That would be really cool to just chop off and actually like propagate. Now these are easy to propagate. You can literally just chop that branch off, stick it in some soil, and it will root. It would make such a cool looking jade bonsai. And this is only, I believe, for $29.99 or $39.99, but that is a huge plant that you can take several cuttings from. So that might be something I might visit in the future. You know, I do like jade plants. If I was going to pick a specific succulent that I would be more prone to buy, just because I do like just the look of it. And then I'm also familiar. Another succulent that I like would be Aeoniums, just because they have a lot of pink succulents. But you can see here we have this end cap full of or a shipper full of live trend self-watering planters. So this has been shipped out to a lot of Lowe's. I really like the look of the self-watering planters, and I do like the selection of plants they've used. The Philodendron Brantianum, it is a little bit more of a finicky plant. It is a philodendron that likes to climb up a pole. So if you actually grow it up a pole, the leaves can get very large. They can get as wide as like 2 feet, or even more so, and even like 3 feet tall just for a single leaf. Now, if you want to see something like large like that, check out my Plant Keeper Incorporated local nursery tour video. I've got about 3 of them available. I would highly recommend that if you want to see some really big philodendron. Now over here is a Colus plant. You already know I will not go to a Lowe's and not look for a Colus plant. Every single Colus that I pick up at Lowe's, I've already bought. Like, this one is a specific one that I bought. I really like the look of this one. I mean, look at how beautiful the leaves are. This is only for $4.98. Notice how the top of that Colus plant was cut, and then 2 new branches came out, so it's a little bit more full. I also love the look of a Tradescantia Nanook, and I am so glad that Tradescantia Nanook are at a reasonable price. This was only for $4.98. You know, back in a couple years back, Tradescantia Nanook, just for like a single cutting, can be up to $30, and that was really insane considering Tradescantia are easy to propagate. And then over here we've got another type of Coleus plant, I do like this color as well. I actually have this one as well, and you know, my Coleus obsession is still strong. I am working on getting my Coleus plant tour, home tour, so just leave it in the comments if you really want to see that. I am definitely working on showing more of my personal plants. Notice that there was a little piece that broke off of this Coleus plant that I found, so I just stuck it back into the soil. Coleus plants are probably the easiest plants to grow and propagate directly into soil. Like, it'll literally root if you just stick it into soil. I learned that from my grandmother, and I'm really thankful because I've been able to grow my Coleus collection substantially. I'm at the point now where I want to do like more plant giveaways. I am doing a current plant giveaway on my Instagram for a variegated philodendron domesticatum. So if you want to participate in that, make sure you have an Instagram account, follow the post or the reel that I had that featured, and I have like specific instructions. Everybody has a fair chance to win, and everybody has as unlimited entries as you want. But you can see here, I'm just looking at some of these outdoor ground covers. So this is a beautiful sea of potato vines. Unfortunately, potato vines don't do well when grown indoors. They end up getting spider mites. And then you can see right here, these are the dark foliage leaf dahlias in containers as well. It is too late in the season for me to grow some dahlias into my landscape. I may try doing that next year. Currently in my landscape, I have a bunch of lantana growing, and I even have some really cool, whatchamacallit, I have some really cool zinnias that I grew from seed. That would be awesome. Anyways, let's see what else we have here. We've got a beautiful variegated ajuga plant. I like that as well. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. And even though this is considered like a ground cover annual, for some reason every time I go to any big box store, I always want to look at that. I just love the colors on that particular plant. It almost looks like a vegetable to me. I am currently growing 2 in containers. They're doing very well. They are a little bit more of a thirsty plant, but it's easy to take care of a plant that's thirsty when they're growing outdoors. And then over here we've got several beautiful looking potato vine containers, and this Lowe's, I'm glad, isn't as busy right now, so I can freely just walk around and show you guys some of the outdoor plants. Now, plant foldies, let me know in the comment section if you prefer indoor plants or outdoor plants. Truthfully, I love all plants. I will say outdoor plants are just easier to grow because they are exposed to a lot more light. It's easier to water because you can take a hose. There's natural predators that get rid of, plant pests. So I just feel like, that's really the most natural habitat for a lot of these plants. Like you can see here, this is a sea of beautiful Croton petras. I love that this batch of Croton petras has a lot of yellow at the very top. It looks like it's on fire. It definitely will bright up a space in a landscape or in a beautiful like patio container. And then you can see over here, we've got even more plants. So these plants right here, I believe are 2 for $24. These are mixed container plants, and these are plants that are containers that can be grown in full sun, which I find interesting because we've got some Coleus plants here. So it looks like these are flamethrower Coleus plants. I think this is spice curry and some other flamethrower variety. I'm not sure what that middle grass is, but you can see here, this is a spice curry, so that can grow in full sun. And I love that these are mixed containers. Again, with mixed containers, you just have to repot them in a planter, but they're instant gratification because it takes the guessing game of having to put certain plants in a container. For those that don't really have like a backyard or a full patio, you can have like maybe just one container for a small space that you can put right in front of your doorstep. I've seen people do that, but as you can see, lots of beautiful flowers. We've got a bunch of impatiens and also vinca plants. I gotta love that. And I love my flowers. Originally I have grown flowers from seed, so that's the thing about my plant journey on Plant Foldies. Like, I just love being able to talk to you guys about these plants. I am still so surprised that a lot of you guys will visit and, tune into my live premieres and watch me. I've been given feedback that some people will literally just play my videos and listen to me talk. Know that if you ever feel lonely, if you ever feel like you need some plant therapy, just go ahead and binge my videos because I like talking, as you can tell, and I also like to keep everybody company. It is something that I like to do. I am a very sociable person, although in terms of actually doing a face reveal on my YouTube channel, not quite sure about that, although you know, I am open to it possibly, we'll see. But what's interesting is I've already had a couple of local plant foldies recognize me, and that's not even me showing my face. So I just thought that was really interesting. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you see a gentleman just walking around with an iPhone filming, that's probably me. And I don't be shy to say hello. I love talking to our viewers and subscribers. You know, shout out to all of my Canadian plant foldies and international plant foldies. Really appreciate that you guys take the time to watch my plant shopping videos. It is always fun to just gather a bunch of people that love plants and really feel that there is a very positive, supportive community. I appreciate you guys sharing what's going on with your personal lives, your day-to-day lives. We love to hear that on the plant foldy chats. We want to be a supportive system here as well. But as you can see, I am just, you know, walking around here, and I just love the fullness of all of these outdoor plants. You know, I just go to these big box stores not with the intent to buy plants, but really to be able to get this content for y'all. I just feel like it's important to stay on schedule. I don't want to try to miss a day where we don't have a video. So my plant foldies, I just want to know if you guys enjoyed this plant video. As always, please hit that like button if you made it this far, and thank you for watching through, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel with the notification bell on. This is Richie at Grow Folds. I will see you on the next one. Bye.